The Bluegill Stone. Start by mashing the barb on a size 8 U103 hook. Then go to a 5/32 of an inch black tungsten bead and thread it small hole first through the point of the hook. Then go ahead and load the hook in your vise. Load a bobbin with 6/0 yellow uni thread. Start your thread wraps behind the bead and wrap back before cutting the tag end off. Then create a nice base of thread through the entire even hook shank. Now go to some ginger rabbit dub. We will be using this dub throughout the tying process, so keep it handy. Advance your thread back towards the back end of the fly and grab a small pinch of the dub. Spread it out and create a 1 to 2 inch dubbing noodle on your thread. Make a small bump at the rear end of the fly. Bring your thread a little bit ways up towards the bead. Now go to some crazy legs and select one leg. Bring your thread all the way up to the bead and fold the leg evenly on the thread. Tie it right on top of the hook and bring it down towards the ball of dubbing. Keep the legs mostly on top of the hook shank. And then I like to cut them, leaving a little bit of orange, not really measuring it. And let them go, and they should splay a little bit, but mostly still remain on top of the hook. If they're uneven, go ahead and clip it. Now go to some hot yellow brassy wire. Get a 6-inch piece or so, and tie it on the far side, and then as you wrap down, pull it to your side. Now, go back to your rabbit dubbing. Grab a little bit more. We'll be making a tapered dubbing noodle to create the body of the fly. We're going to start the taper right at the back end and wrap up to the 2/3 section of the fly, or 1/3 of the hook shank away from the bead. If you need to add more dubbing to get to that point, you can. And once you reach that bare thread area, go ahead and grab your wire and start making 5 or 6 wraps up towards the thread. Once you reach that bare area, go ahead and tie the wire off and helicopter it off. Now go back to your dubbing. Go ahead and make another small dubbing noodle and cover the bare thread. No need to continue the taper at this point. And then put your thread right in the middle of that bare area, now covered by dubbing. Now go back to your legs, but this time grab 2. If they're stuck to each other, go ahead and try to pull them apart. Hold the 2 legs together and fold them in half over the thread, and then bring it up right on top of the fly and make a couple loose wraps. Pull one leg to each side of the fly and then tighten your wraps. And again, not really measuring here, just cutting it so a little bit of the orange shows. Now we're going to go back to our dubbing. This will create the collar and the thorax. But this time, do a little looser dub, as we'll be brushing this out later. And cover in between the legs. And then once that's a good bulgy thorax, go ahead and jump in front of the legs, right behind the bead. Then take a couple wraps of bare thread right behind the bead. Now go to your whip finish and do a couple whip finishes to build up a nice yellow collar right behind the bead. Then you can go ahead and cut your thread off. At this point, you can take a dubbing brush or a piece of Velcro and kind of brush out all that dubbing. Kind of go crazy with it, like the bushier the better. And after that, the fly is done.